Good day and welcome to this edition of Monday Momentum. Today we're going to drive into the power of alignment and how aligning your energy, your purpose, and your identity can shift everything about you, yourself, and your business. As I've said in the past, my name is Laurie McNaught. I am your Scale Up Biz Coach, and I work with business owners with 5 to 50 employees who are looking to scale up their business, but found themselves in overwhelm, meaning working way too many hours, uh, getting burned out, feeling exhausted, and at the end of the day, looking back and saying, gee, we did a lot of business, but there wasn't a lot of profit here, and I'm not having a lot of fun. I'd like to have my life back. Those are the sweet spot clients for me. So if that's you, you might want to reach out and book yourself a discovery call, which I'll put in the description. And it's basically a quick conversation, take anywhere from 15 minutes to 30 minutes. Just going to ask you some questions, understand where you're at, where you want to be, where you see the challenges for you getting there, and then we can talk about some of the solutions. And if we think that there's some value, then we'll book what I call a complimentary coaching session. And that's where we'll just dive in a lot deeper and understand the causes and talk about the solutions in a much deeper level and go from there. Basically, if you're looking to go from scale up to 7 and 8 figures, you may want to have that conversation. And you're struggling to get there, you may want to have that conversation. So let's dive into the content here today. So I wanted to start out by saying there was a time in my life where I think, or maybe it's more appropriate to say there were times in my life when I felt like I was playing a character. You know, uh, you play this character because you want to fit in, or you want to look smart, or you want to look good, or you want to look successful, or whatever that might be. And why? Because you want to perceived and you want people to like you, respect you. Again, whatever that might be for you. Now, my experience working with hundreds of business owners and talking to their teams, we all have a tendency to do that. We all want to look like we know what we're doing. We all want to look like we're smart. We all want to look successful. And I'm not saying that you're not smart, you're not successful. I'm just saying that sometimes it needs something, a shift of thinking and think of how you think about things that will make the biggest difference for you. And this is the purpose of this conversation here today. So the problem with playing this character all the time is it's so draining. And when you drop your guard for a moment, people might see the real you. And that because they've fallen in love with the character that you play, they might not be attracted to you anymore. Now, I might think that that's not a bad idea or a bad thing. Because when you let your guard down and you let yourself, the real you, show up and people become engaged with that and connect with that, now you've got something that's going to really move you forward. Um, I would say a long time ago, this is probably 40 years ago, one of my friends said to me, you always look like you're in control. You look so calm all the time. And I just thought to myself, the true facts of it is that I feel like I'm out of control most of the time. And but that's not necessarily a bad thing uh, when you start to recognize that, and then you start to use tools to bring the focus in onto what you need to be doing versus, all the scatteredness that goes on, and then playing this character. So today we're going to talk about the power of alignment, which is really being authentic to who you truly are, and we're going to talk about how you can create being your authentic self. So if you look at this first slide here, talk about the power of alignment. And what I mean by that is, again, aligning with your who you are as a human being, not trying to be something that you're not. Let's put it that way. So you align your energy, align your truth. Success without alignment causes burnout. Again, if you're playing this character 24/7, it's hard to maintain that. Energy and fulfillment starts when you've been the best version of who you truly are. So, what does it look like being out of aligned? So, let me ask you, which one of these masks are you wearing? Are you the mask of the happy, successful, uh, driven um, person? Or are you the sad, uh, quiet, unhappy person? If you look at if you're that person if you look at the picture, I'm looking at the sad person face. If you're that person and you're playing the happy person face, putting that mask on, you're going to tire yourself out and burn yourself out. If you're the happy face guy and you're around people who play with the mask of the sad person, again, it's going to be energy robbing. Now, first thing I'd say about this particular picture, if you look at that unhappy face, this is from a drama, so theater. And some people are just focused on being unhappy. There's always a problem. There's always a challenge. There's always something. For every solution, there's a problem, and they tend to live their lives out that way. It's very difficult in my mind to live that way. I don't live that way. I'm one of the people who would be with the happy face mask on. I'm not going to typically sit down and talk to people about, you know, the challenges or things that I'm unhappy about. It's just to me doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, if it was really troublesome, then I would talk to somebody about it. I'm not just going to talk about, I've got this ailment, I'm so stiff, I'm this, that, and the other. So if you think about this, which mask are you wearing? And is it providing you more energy or is it pulling energy from you? So what does it mean to be aligned? Well, it really is about truly being who you are. But you got to ask the question, who is that? And, if you look back at the mask, are you the unhappy person? If so, what is it that you're saying to yourself about yourself when you're by yourself that's making you unhappy? If you're the happy person, or from if you're that sad person looking and putting on that happy face, you have to ask, is this serving me? Is this helping me? Because you cannot run around being this happy-go-lucky person all the time without it pulling a lot of your energy. Um, yeah, let's just keep moving along here. So, being true to who you really are, living and working from the heart, not just your head. I want to share this story because I think it's a beautiful story. I went to a program in Orlando, Florida, a number of years ago called Train the Trainer. And we were there for 3 days and we talked about different stories and things that impact people. And this had a big impact on me while I was there. There was this beautiful young lady there. I'm not going to mention her name. She had changed her name anyway. It doesn't really matter. Uh, so we're in this class together, and the teacher is talking about when you're presenting, speak from the heart. Don't speak from the head, because your logic may not connect with somebody else's logic. But if you connect with them at the heart, they'll feel what it is that you are trying to get across to them. And that kind of goes back to the old saying about being in sales, like people buy for emotional reasons and then they justify it with logic, their own logic, not your logic. So, anyways, this young lady got up to speak and just alienated the whole group. Uh, I think she started out by saying, if you guys knew what I knew, or, I know something that you don't know, that sort of start to her conversation. And I talked to other people in the thing, and she was so disconnected from the group. And she was like that the entire 3 days until the very last day. And this is both a heartwarming story and a heartbreaking story at the same time. It was the last day. We're all doing our last presentations, and she stood up and she really got in touch with her heart and started to speak from her heart. You could tell she was getting emotional about it. She said, I don't think I've been very good about sharing who I really am and what I'm really about. And I forget exactly what she all said. But in my mind, I just envisioned this beautiful feeling coming from her, and then the crowd coming, and we're just about to connect with her in a way that we hadn't connected with her the entire 3 days. And in just like that, she turned it off, boom, shut it down, and went right back into her head. And I don't remember exactly what she said, but she left the stage, and I didn't see her again after that. And it was just such an illustration of how you connect with people. Maya Angelou always says, people won't remember what you said or did, but they will remember how you made them feel. So remember that when you're building your team. When somebody's struggling with something, maybe they're showing up late for work they started showing up, have a conversation. Hey, listen, I just wanted to talk to you about something. I've noticed that you've been late a few times here in the last week. I just want to know because I really want you to succeed here and be part of our team. Is there something troubling you? Is there something that, I can help you with? So you're going to connect with them at a much deeper level. And then you can have a conversation with them and come to an agreement that you uh, they need to show up for work on time and be a part of the community that you have there and the culture that you've built in your business. So that's just the power of speaking from the heart and not the head. And when you do that, you'll feel energized instead of being drained. What drains us is trying to think that I need to be smarter. I need to have all the answers. I need to be right all of the time. That just is draining rather than just speaking from the heart and saying, somebody comes to you and says, geez, what about this, that, and the other? And you go, yeah, give me some time to think about it because I don't really have the answer to that right now. And then ask yourself the question, so what would be the answer? Or you could even say to them after the fact, uh, you could say after the fact to them, or pardon me, at that point, I'll tell you what, you go away and think about what the solution to that is, and then let's reconvene tomorrow at the same time and we'll have compare notes. Now you're including them in something. Okay, so let's keep moving along. So how do you know when you're out of alignment? Well, you're feeling constantly fatigued and feeling burned out. If you're feeling that way, you're out of alignment with, whatever it is that's going to help you get to where you want to be to build this 7 and 8 figure business. You'll feel resentment to whatever could be your business, could be to other successful people, could be, why does that person always look so whatever? Um, and you'll have a sense, of disconnection from your purpose. So you're disconnected from your purpose in life. And I don't want to go down the purpose road too far at this particular moment, other than to say this, and that is, um, I don't think it's rocket science to figure out what your purpose in life is. I think it's being of service to other people, so helping other people succeed. Um, Zig Ziglar said this a long time ago. I was listening to one of his cassette tapes, and he said, if you want to have everything you want in life, help other people get what they want in life. So think about your team. What are their goals? What do they want? What's success for them? How do you help them do that? Because if you help them do that, they'll help you succeed in your business. So, what happens when you're aligned? You feel energized. You act out of inspiration versus obligation on the boss. I got to do this versus, no, this is exciting. This is what I want to do. You attract the right people and the right opportunities, and you build a life or a business that feels more like a home. It feels comfortable. It doesn't feel like if you're going to into your business and it's stressing you out and you're feeling anxious about it, and you come home from work and you're just dead to the world because of all the stuff that you had to deal with that today. That's out of alignment. That's not being authentic with who you really are. So, you want to practice alignment, start it now. Take 5 minutes today and check with your heart. Who am I? What is the purpose here? What do I want to do? Identify one action that can take you to be more this week and share that commitment with somebody that you trust. Okay, so here's what we typically do if we're doing this when we do this live is we have a little reflection time. So I want you to just pause the video and read these questions, read this over and ask yourself, where am I living out of alignment with who I truly am? And then where am I letting my head overrule my heart? And what role am I playing that doesn't feel or that don't feel like me? What roles am I playing that don't feel like me? And then what would I change if I could stop performing and start doing? So take the time to answer those questions. So pause the video and go on to after you're done reflecting on this for a few minutes. So it's easy to play you. It's exhausting to play a character 24/7. Alignment is a path to peace, power, and purpose. So align with who you truly are and what you really want to do. And I know, here's the thing, when the um, 20 plus years, 21 plus years I've been doing this, I've worked with a lot of business owners, and the vast majority of them have been what I would call people orientated business owners, meaning they wanted their people who come to work for them to be successful, and they wanted them to be, have a good work experience there, and they wanted them to grow and become the best that they could be. Now, I have worked with a few people, and typically not for very long, who are more focused on just making more money. I wanted to have a private jet, or I want to have a Lamborghini, or I need to have this. Uh, and my people are all annoying and that sort of attitude about people. And so I think it's probably 400 or 500 businesses that I've worked with over the past 21 years, somewhere in that neighborhood. And I'd say 98% of them were people orientated, meaning they really wanted the people who work for them to grow and flourish. And then 2% were just about themselves. And they struggled the hardest and they were the most unhappy. So align yourself with your purpose, and watch your business and your life evolve and change into something awesome. So an invitation, align and rise. Your energy is at the edge. Authenticity is your advantage, and alignment is the faster path to fulfillment. And I would add success, both financially and more importantly, if I could use this word, freedom, because I don't know about you, but the only thing that's important to me in my life is that I'm happy, and happy means freedom. And that's freedom is freedom of choice, freedom to make decisions about what I want to do based on whether or not I want to do it, not based on whether or not I have the time to do it or whether I can afford to do it. So I'm going to, as I said, link into the description so you can book a discovery call. If you have to be a company that's got 5 to 50 employees, I say that obviously 50 is not an exact number, and five, that's almost exact. It depends on your level of commitment to growth. The reason that I use that number five is because it's very difficult to leverage yourself with people if you're just one or two of you or three of you. And I like the number five because typically what I have found when I've worked with businesses that had five people, and they were really underutilized, not very efficient in how they did things, not very productive in how they did things. And so it was quick, easy win to get everybody working together. And so that's why I picked that number. It doesn't necessarily mean it has to be exact. If you're somebody who's going, hey, I really need your help, I really will take your ideas and put them into play, and we'll work on them. So appreciate your time here today. Again, Laurie McNutt, your Scale Up Biz Coach. I look forward to the opportunity one day to be of service with you and help you accomplish what you want to accomplish. Until then, I wish you nothing but the most success.